everyone. You're live with Necee. I am your host, Opal Bailey, and I have with me today Tony LaCentra. Hey, Tony.
Hey, how you doing, Opal?
Doing good. How are you today?
Fine.
Hey, welcome to my show.
Thanks for inviting me.
Hey, so can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, sir?
Where would you like me to begin?
How about where you're from? What's going on with you lately? What you been up to?
Well, originally I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in Florida from the time I was 10. My dad passed away when I was 10, so we moved to Florida, graduated from Rockledge High School, and I've been here ever since.
So I see that you also was military as well.
Yeah, I did a little time in the military after I graduated from high school. Served in the Army, and I was a 63 Tango. And for those that don't know what that is, that was a Bradley Fighting Vehicle Systems mechanic. So we were one of the first people that actually worked on the Bradley Fighting Vehicle when it was being tested.
So what made you get into the military?
Well, I believe it or not, when I was 15, I quit school and stayed out of school for a while and just kind of thought I had the world. Nobody was going to tell me anything, and kind of kicked around a little bit and decided after 3 years of just kind of drifting around, I went back to high school when I was 18. And
wait a minute. Did you say you went to high school at the age of 18?
Yeah, went back to high school. I went back to ninth grade when I was 18 and started high school all over again at 18.
So how was that? Oh my God.
At the time, I was so focused on getting my life back in order that it really I did 4 years of high school actually in 3 years, with summer school and actually night school, because I had, as I said earlier, I had kind of kicked around a little bit and was, I don't know, just hanging out and doing really what I wanted to. And I got focused and decided that, okay, enough is enough. I'm not going anywhere. So when I went back to school, I just focused on school, didn't care that I was 3.5 years older than everybody else, and started all over again. And I actually, instead of graduating in 1983, I graduated in 86, and I walked across the stage with my graduating class and got my diploma like a normal high school student would. And it was basically because I had decided in my mind that I wanted to go into the military. My father was ex-military. He was a Marine. I didn't join the Marines, obviously. As I said, I was in the Army. He did a tour in Vietnam. So I did what I felt that I was led to do. So I joined the Army.
Did you feel like you needed to basically follow in your father's steps being in the military, or was it more of a personal quest?
I don't think it was to follow in my father's footsteps, because if that would have been the case, obviously I would have joined the Marines and carried on that. I think it was just a way to better myself, to advance myself and my goals. So,
do you regret doing what you did as far as going to high school at the age of 18? I mean, I'm just still stuck there. Because I've never heard that happen, but evidently it did.
It did in my life, honestly, I've never heard of anybody else doing it, and now I don't know if you can even do it, but to do anything now, I mean, you need a high school diploma, and even back then, that was mid '80s. Even back then, the military wasn't taking GEDs. So for me to even, like I said, to even join the military, I had to get a diploma. And as I said, I didn't think about it. I just did it because I knew it was something I had to do. Basically, as I said, to better myself and try and make a better life for myself, because like I said, my dad was in the military, and because of Agent Orange and being in Vietnam, he passed away when I was 10, and so basically I had no, I don't want to say I had no guidance, but I had no role model as far as continually being there. There was, there were people in and out of my life, but there was no continual someone that I could go to say, hey, what do you think? Or what should I do? Or what would you do? So the term learning from the school of hard knocks basically was my life. And everything that I learned, I pretty much learned from the school of hard knocks. Mm-hmm. So everything that I learned stuck with me because I learned it the hard way.
How was your military life?
It was great in basic training. When I went in as an E3 because I had planned to make that my career. So when I was in high school, I went through ROTC. So instead of going in as an E1, I went in as an E3. My first station of duty, I would have been a Spec 4 already. But as I graduated from basic training to go to my advanced schooling, about halfway through my AIT, I had found out that they had breached my contract, so I wasn't going to receive what I signed up for. And so basically, I got out of the military on a breach of contract, but it was still considered a honorable discharge. It's what they call an ELS, which is an entry level separation, and only because I wasn't in longer than 6 months. But on my DD 214, which is your discharge papers, it says that I have an honorable discharge.
So you weren't able to go to battle or go into different locations, or
not at that time, because I had gotten out. I actually had gotten out during my schooling when I found out I wasn't getting the correct MOS that I had signed up for. So to me, I thought, I'm not going to waste my time doing something that I wouldn't have enjoyed and I didn't initially sign up for anyway. So I got out of the military.
So you carry a picture about, of your dad.
Yeah.
Can you explain what is the purpose or what the meaning of the picture that you have for him and the photography you took of him and what was going on?
It would be the Marines that were at the time the picture was taken would know what it is, and what it represents. It's an article called The Peace Church, and what it is, it was a group of Marines that been further out into the field than anybody knew they were. And they were surrounded by VC, and they all thought they were going to die. And the picture is a helicopter had been shot down, and what the picture is the pilot and the photographer were rushing into the church to get to safety. And when they took the picture, it was the surprised look of one of the Marines that was in the church, but it was also a picture of my dad in the church with one of his wounds that he actually received a Purple Heart for. He received 2 Purple Hearts. So that's the picture that I carry, and it's in remembrance of him and his service. And the fact that he did pass away at 29, and I really didn't get to know him because of the last 3 years of his life. He was in and out of the hospital with dealing with Hodgkin's disease and lymphoma. So it's one of the few things that I do have of my father. So,
how did all of the experiences that you did encounter help mold you into who you are today? How did it shape you? How did it, did it change your thinking? Did it change the way you look at life? What impact?
I guess at first I was bitter. I dealt with a lot of bitterness. I mean, at 10 years old, my father died, and I kind of felt like I got left on my own. I had no male role model, so nobody. I had no one to teach me how to really be a man or the man of the house or anything like that. So it was basically learning on my own, and then the men that I had been, blessed to be around that actually took the time to show me things and, help me to become a man. I held on to the good. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, believe me, and I've even learned from them. I mean, quitting school at 15 was a huge mistake, but I learned, and I went back. I tried to better myself going through the military, and even though that didn't work out, that was part of a growing part of my life that, just because someone says they're going to do this doesn't always mean you're going to get it. So you kind of learn to deal with the ups and downs and really the disappointments, because that's what I had planned. My life was to be, military and spend my life in the military. So, it's been hard. I mean, like I said, it's, there's times where, like, even at, I hate to say it, even at 52 years old now, I still make mistakes, but it's part of growing and learning and still dealing with who you are. So,
excuse me, do you think that the military had a positive impact in your life as well, as far as helping you to have structure, discipline, and certain?
Oh yeah, definitely, because it before that, like I said, I kind of at 15, I kind of ran the streets. I worked, but I was running the streets and hanging with my buddies, and we did what we wanted. I mean, and it you go from that to